Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Happy Thanksgiving, and I hope your Thanksgiving is going to be so blessed. Today we're going to be kind of revealing one of the things that Jesus did in his life that relates to Thanksgiving that you might not know of. In fact, he did a lot of it, and I only found out about this through some research, so let's dive in. So why is Thanksgiving so important? And for a lot of people, it might be because it's a symbol of unity, it's a symbol of pausing, it's a symbol of joy. And Thanksgiving is very, very reminiscent of the feast in the Jewish culture, where Thanksgiving can be a pause to take a break from our cynical, weary, broken, and hard hearts. We can open ourselves up to the reality of all that God has blessed us with. We can delight in life without guilt. We can take joy in the midst of loss. We can have hope despite disappointment. Jesus used meals, much like Thanksgiving, to really show the way of the kingdom, to show the different way of living. Tim Chester, in his book about the Gospel of Luke, says this: in Luke's Gospel, Jesus is either going to a meal, at a meal, or coming from a meal. In fact, you and me might think of the life of Jesus and think of miracles, preaching, of course, the crucifixion and resurrection. Not very often do we think of how much Jesus enjoyed the meals he was at and how much he ate. You see, Jesus did preach to those who are open to God and understood where he was coming from, although they needed to be corrected or taught. But he used meals as a way to reach those far from God, to help them kind of come down off the mountain, so to speak, from a mythic teacher to a real person that got to eat face to face. And he also used meals as a way to connect with the heart of people. And to those who have been hurt, rejected, and set aside, he often reserved those people for his meals. Back then, a meal meant a lot more than it does to us today. A meal set the social boundaries. So for example, if I had a meal with you, I would be approving of who you are and what you do. And so that's why it was so controversial that Jesus ate with the two most hated professions of his day: tax collectors and prostitutes. He did not care as much about his reputation as much as the people that he was eating with. The early church continued this tradition. Primarily, we might think that the early church, might have preached a lot and done miracles, but honestly, if you look at the data and if you look at the stories from church history, often what you'll find is that the primary way of evangelization through the empire and through all these different places was meals. The early church didn't look like the church we have today with big services and sermons and things like that and a camera like me right now. It primarily looked like people going to pray every single day in community and sharing meals with people who were rejected, set aside, or forgotten. Tim Chester again says this: we may not long for bread, but we long for meaning, intimacy, fulfillment, community, purpose, and joy. We can provide those things through the meals that we share with other people. When we invite those who have been rejected or don't feel like they belong to a meal where they can sit and look at you face to face in the eye and laugh and have fun and have some good food, that is a little bit of a glimpse into what the kingdom of heaven is really like, where everyone has a seat at the table. I would encourage you this Thanksgiving. I know it's a lot to ask, to change of plans if you already have one, or to go out of your way to invite someone you might not really like. God has invited us to sit and dine at the table when we did not deserve it. A way we can show and embody this in a tangible way, where grace and love and the idea of the kingdom of God are not just ethereal ideas that are nice to hear, but they begin to be real and physical and tangible, is when we begin to invite someone to sit and share a meal with us. And Thanksgiving is easily the time where you can look around and see who doesn't have a home for the holidays, who is rejected from going home and not being able to share a meal, who doesn't have family, who doesn't have a community. And these are the kinds of people that God longs to bring to the table. And so would you and me surrender to what God is already doing, and instead of fighting God and saying an excuse or a good reason maybe for to not invite people to the table, may we do that this Thanksgiving. May we start the kingdom of God embodied in our homes, in our lives, and maybe even in our food. All right, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you later.